Welcome into I Said What I Said. I'm Brad McKay. That's Tyson Gentry. This is our gambling episode for Week 11 of the college football season. Tyson, last week, pretty interesting. I mean, not a lot of primetime games. It was a weird feel at night, but we're back. Teams didn't, had a lot of buys, late season buys, but we're back in the fold this week.
Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, we had a heater 2 weeks ago, both of us, and then I just crapped down my leg last night. I didn't know anything that was going on. I was sitting there watching the games, coughing, snot coming out of my nose, all that stuff, and I'm like, did I really think that Navy was going to not only win this football game, but I'm an idiot.
Let's get into it. Tyson's alluded to it. He wants us to go ahead and look at our shortcomings this week. I went 5-4. That was a little bit more conservative on the week compared to what I normally play, but play of the week got home. How about that? Ole Miss -7. Wish I didn't buy that down. They absolutely smoked that game. Boise State -23.5. That covered with ease. Air Force +22 went mano-a-mano against Tyson. Actually came out on top on this one, so that was a good feeling. Arizona, UCF over 55.5. Well, UCF covered that by themselves. They scored 56, so that was nice. And South Carolina getting 3.5. They just won outright, dominated A&M, so that was good. Here's the bad. Auburn -7. I don't know what I'm thinking. Like, the Vandy train is not stopping. I tried to catch the falling knife. I don't have any more fingers. Louisville, Clemson over 62. I can't believe that did go home, honestly. That just the way that game was going. I'm an idiot. Tennessee -17.5. That was brutal. And then here's really where I was stupid. Penn State money line. It's just the same old song, same old dance for us Penn State fans. And then got a lucky push on Georgia. So on -14. So I'm thankful for that. Was 5-4-1 on the week, and plus only 0.35 units. So a lot for a little, but I'll take that over losing week anytime.
Yeah, and so would I, because I went 2-4, lost almost 2 units on the week. Play of the week, Washington money line, that gets home. Pack your bags, Lincoln Riley. I don't know where you're going, but it's like 2 years left maybe on this thing before the buyout becomes available, whatever. Pittsburgh SMU over gets home. This is where it was bad for me. Illinois money line, they just kind of got beat up at home, and they've lost all faith that everybody had in them. Army -21.5. You alluded to that one. I don't know how I didn't win this, dude. I feel robbed, to be honest with you. Navy -10.5. I might have been able to get that one home if the game started on time. I'm going to go with that. And then I had Penn State +3.5, Brad. I tried to, be frugal here and take the points. They're going to maybe lose the game by a field goal. I'm not so mad. And just, I had my heart ripped out. I feel like almost as bad as you. And then I pushed Georgia as well.
I mean, Penn State +3.5, that's a bad beat for you, man. I mean, God, they were about to score a touchdown, should have 4th and goal, blah, blah, blah. But, okay, so on the season, I'm down 5.06 units. Tyson's down 8.82. As a podcast, we're down 13.88. So we got some work to do. We're not sugarcoating anything. We don't hide. We're not fake. We don't care. But with that being said, we got a full slate, so let's get into it.
It's money-making time.
All right, Tyson, I got the T-box. I'll start it off. Play of the week, Memphis -7.5, -115 on FanDuel. Now, this line stinks. This is scary. I'm scared of what's going to come out of it. Playing a Rice team that just beat Navy, but that's why I'm playing Memphis. Rice coming off of a big win, I would say, over Navy, who is rolling, who's now lost 2 in a row on their end. But Rice has to go on the road, face this Memphis team. Power ratings-wise, Tyson, 17.25 and 13.35 should be the line based on that. So, I mean, I'm getting a touchdown or more of value here. So that's one. This line stinks. But when I'm looking at these advanced stats, 31st in rush EPA, 82nd in pass EPA for Memphis, going up against a defense that's 96th and 54th. I mean, if you can't stop the run, I know they did against Navy, but Memphis's offensive attack can really run the football. And I think that's going to help here. On the flip side, Rice 109th in rush EPA, 116th in pass EPA against a defense that's 58th and 88th. So maybe Rice found something moving the football through the air. That could come back to haunt Memphis. But I think this line seems short. Memphis has been laying a lot of points this season, and this one feels like an attackable line. And I've laid bigger with Memphis. I'm hoping this comes through for me.
I think you're on the right side of this one. I thought about that pretty hard. My play of the week is going to be Iowa at UCLA under 44.5. Principal play for me. I know Iowa just like popped off and all of a sudden they can score 50 points and everybody's all excited. I don't think it'll be this time. I don't think it'll be UCLA putting the ball in the end zone. And last week before the show, we talked for a little while about the UCLA-Nebraska over, and it wasn't an official pick. We don't do leans. So it was just something that we kept. But I watched that hit. Now I have to get in.
I'm surprised you didn't take UCLA money line. I mean, these are your classic Friday night dogs, so I'm a little shocked here. But Tyson, we were chastising ourselves on our earlier show in the week. If you kind of want to know our thoughts on that, make sure to tune in earlier in the week as we break down everything in college football for not understanding the Clemson letdown spot or the classic Clemson fall apart spot. I saw it with Texas A&M. I didn't think they'd lose that badly. I'm taking the one here. Georgia Tech plus 11.5, minus 115 on MGM against the Miami Hurricanes. All signs point to this thing being potentially ugly for Georgia Tech. But, Tyson, they're off a bye. Miami's off a big win at home. Now, I know it was against Duke, but, I mean, they had a ton of people on the sidelines for that. That game, felt important. Game felt big, and now they got to go to Atlanta. Short little trip, and it's not anything crazy. They're going to the back sticks or the boonies or anything like that, but you got to go to Georgia Tech, play a team that wants to run the football and be physical and shorten this game. Offensively, Georgia Tech, 42nd rush EPA, 23rd in pass EPA. It's Georgia Tech. Now, against a defense that's 12th and 13th, does anybody think Miami's defense is that good? When you watch it, I mean, metrically, I guess, but I was shocked to see that. Miami, we know their offense, really good. 6th in rush EPA, 3rd in pass EPA. But Tyson, Georgia Tech, 22nd in stopping the rush, 92nd stopping the pass on the EPA basis. So I'm picturing this. Georgia Tech's able to stop the run and force Cam Ward to throw the football. We get a couple mistakes here. Georgia Tech sits on the football. I think Miami could be sweating a little bit.
This could be just follow the blueprint that Cal laid out for Georgia Tech on the offensive side of the ball. Sorry about all the coughing out there, people. My next play here is going to be Georgia minus 2.5. We discussed earlier in the week. It feels like everybody that gets the ball for Ole Miss is out of this game. And I think that Georgia has been disappointing to spread bettors essentially all season long. This is one here where they can win this game by a field goal. I thought about the over, but again, I just am struggling to picture Ole Miss moving the ball up and down the field with all these guys out.
Yeah, and I'll stay in this game, Tyson, and that's what I thought too. I'm going to take the under. 55.5 just feels like a lot. Now, maybe I'm falling for the bait here, but I mean, you look at these and it's like, oh, high-powered offenses. I'm in agreement with you here. Ole Miss is missing a ton of players, or at least they're going to be banged up if they do suit up. So that you kind of take that away. Now, Georgia's had a hard time defending mobile quarterbacks and Jackson Dart, but that's when there's weapons that you can throw to. Is Ole Miss going to be able to move the football? I ran through that, kind of the breakdown earlier in the week when we were previewing this game. So I'll do it quickly here. Georgia 7th EPA per rush, 19th in EPA per pass. Ole Miss good, 22nd, 21st in those stats. Now, Ole Miss, good offense, right? 18th in rush EPA, 4th in pass EPA. Georgia's good on paper, 7th and 15th in those categories. So I think this could be a stalemate. Maybe it's not all on Carson Beck to move the football. He's been mistake prone. Maybe they run the ball a little more, ball control. So I think I'm going to go under 55.5 here on FanDuel at minus 112.
My next one, it feels like I'm hitting on a 14 playing blackjack or something. I'm going with UCF, Arizona State over 55.5. This one feels scary to me. You mentioned catching a falling knife all the time when we talk about the ones that we lost. I'm not sure how this feels. But Arizona State's been explosive on offense, and we've seen this UCF offense turn around as soon as half the team quits, which is an interesting development over there. But it's a night game against two teams who are relatively unfamiliar with each other. They have some of the more explosive and fun players in college football. I'm cheering for points.
I love that. I can't believe I'm not on this play, honestly. But Tyson, I think you're going to be absolutely disgusted by this one. But this is a last chance. Liberty, Middle Tennessee State over 54, minus 110 on DraftKings. I didn't see you make a face necessarily, so I think you're ready to hear me out a little bit. So what have we been waiting for with this offense? Now, Tyson just called them out in our earlier episode, earlier in the week. They've been awful compared to what they were last year. I know the record is fine, but, I mean, we're talking about this team supposed to be a favorite to go to the college football playoff, and they've looked like a complete shell of themselves. So this is the time for Jamie Chadwell and Caden Salter to put something together. They're going up against a defense that's 125th and 130th and stopping the run and pass on an EPA basis. Now, the metrics haven't looked good for Liberty. They're 73rd and 86th. This feels like Liberty is going to come in and put the boots to somebody, put maybe 40 points up and score the rock. Now, we need somebody to answer, right? Middle Tennessee State, not a great offense, 128th, 118th rush pass EPA. But Liberty's defense been disappointing, 99th and 87th. So I think maybe they can move the rock a bit here. And then Liberty 28th in equal explosive plays against the defense. It's 126. So Liberty likes to chew up the clock. But Tyson, if there's nothing stopping them, this is going to be a scrimmage on air. So I'm hoping that we get a classic Liberty just blow somebody out spot.
We've been waiting for a Liberty blow somebody out spot all year. So I hope this is the one. Like I want, if it was anybody besides Middle Tennessee State, I might be talking myself into Liberty losing another football game here. Speaking of maybe losing another football game, 3 losses for the Alabama Crimson Tide through week 10 or through week 11 sounds pretty good to me. I'm going with the LSU money line here. Games at night at Death Valley. We talked about it after the Ole Miss game. This is something that I just can't miss out on again. I can't believe, that we've allowed ourselves to fall so far from where we used to be. What happened to this country, man? What happened to us here? It's LSU, it's Death Valley, it's nighttime. They're flying into Tiger. They're going to have it on the field. This is the whole thing, people.
Well, Tyson, I'm going back to this game with you, man, but I'm going to do a bread and butter for me over. I mean, these games can get wonky, right? It's not the Les Miles, Nick Saban 9-6 games of the past. Like, we got new coaches. We got Brian Kelly, offensive mind, Kalen DeBoer, offensive mind, electric quarterbacks in Nussmeier and Milroe who do it differently. I don't even have to break down the advanced stats like I normally do. I did that earlier in the week, and it says, you're an idiot. Why would you ever play anything over 60? I don't care. Nussmeier's going to sling the rock. Jalen Milroe is going to have a hard time being contained by this LSU defense. We're going to see points. Both teams off a bye. Yeah, it's good for the defense. No. This is good for the offense. We see fireworks in Death Valley. We see a crazy game where Tyson hits his money line. He's celebrating LSU, and I'm celebrating with a winning over 58.5 ticket in my hand.
I hope LSU just scores 63, and then we don't have to worry about either one. My next one here, I'm going over 45.5, Washington at Penn State. Washington with a big win last week against USC, kind of touched on that one. Penn State with a disappointing performance, we touched on that too. This feels like a spot to me where Penn State just might be able to score 35 points, and then Washington just has to keep up a little bit here. Penn State's going to run the crap out of the football in this one. I think they're going to get back to their identity, and you and I kind of talked pre-show that when you play Ohio State, then you go play somebody else, the lanes are a little bigger for passing, the holes are a little bigger for running through. I think the Penn State might be in a little bit of a boom spot here.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. I mean, there's been the classic letdown spot the Penn State's had over the years after they lose to Ohio State. So they're kind of battling that, but it hasn't necessarily happened in recent weeks. And they get to go play at home again, so they don't have to go travel, which is normally the case. So that could be a boost. So I'm hoping so, Tyson. Nick Singleton's been a little disappointing in the running game. Just what we got to see. It has to be this week, or else we got red flags going up in Happy Valley. James Madison minus 15.5, minus 112 on DraftKings. Really? I saw this line. I was shocked. They're off a bye. They looked like complete trash, right? Losing to Georgia Southern. Didn't cover for me against Southern Miss. So they go into the bye week. I think they get a regroup. They're playing this Georgia State team that is just not very good, Tyson. 130th in stopping the rush, 97th in stopping the pass on the EPA basis. James Madison, when they're rolling, they are rolling. 52nd in rush EPA, 64th in pass EPA. I like that in this matchup coming off a bye. Power ratings has it at 18.5 and 19.5, so get a little boon there, 4-point advantage. And plus, I don't think Georgia State's going to be able to score the football or move it that effectively. 117th in rush EPA, 78th in pass EPA against the defense that's 46th and 14th in those categories. I love this play, especially at home off a bye.
If you're a sicko and you're bored on Saturday, check out this Georgia Southern offense. It's abysmal. It's hard to watch. They're slow. They're not fast. So I think that you're going to be okay there. But the exact opposite end of the spectrum is where I'm going here. I think Tulane's going to stomp Temple at home, coming off of a long week. They didn't look great. Was it last Wednesday or Thursday? When did they play?
Last Thursday.
Okay, and they didn't look great to start the game, and then as the game kept going on, it just became clear that they're the toast maybe of this entire conference, and they're not completely dead when it comes to the college football playoff here. I think Tulane is going to send a message this week like, we score 100 points a game. Somebody's going to have to start talking about us.
I'm simpatico with you, my brother. 26.5, like Tyson said on FanDuel, minus 110. I think that's a great line. Temple's been playing better. but this is the best team in the conference. This is a team that's like really good nationally, I think. I mean, John Summerall is a great head coach. He's going to get a big job. You hate to say that about Tulane, but he's going to take one of these SEC jobs one day. He's a stud. But I'll go a little further. What Tyson broke down: 41st in rush EPA, 20th in pass EPA against a defense that's 124th and 116th. Like Tyson said, this could be a smash spot for this offense. Team that got it rolling in the second half against Charlotte. Temple's off a bye, so it's like, oh, they can prepare. But you get an extended spot for Tulane is able to rest up a little bit, prepare for Temple, how to attack them, coming off a momentum builder in the second half. I love this play as well.
And another one that I know you're going to be in on me with, we're going back to the well. We're going with another North Texas over. This time it's Army. It's a team that can move the ball up and down the field. And we can just, like, North Texas is the team that, you can pop a run for 85 yards, score a touchdown, and it's only it's a one-play, 13-second drive on the ground. I think that this thing at 63.5 is scary, but we might be there by the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, simpatico again. And I told Tyson, so this is kind of like we have to play this together. It's a show play. I told him I'd run through the advanced stats, and I think he's going to get a kick out of it. 16th in rush EPA, first in pass EPA for Army. How about that? Going against a defense that's 87th and the 111th. Like, this could be, an Army, when they get rolling, and this is a triple option offense too. North Texas doesn't have time to prepare. This defense, they are going to get lambasted. We saw what Memphis did to them on the ground. That's Memphis. This is Army's triple option rushing attack, and they're able to put up points in a hurry. On the flip side, this is a solid Army defense, but Tyson, North Texas 62nd rush EPA, 45th in pass EPA against a defense that's 34th and 46th in those categories. North Texas can score. That's what we're looking for on the other side. It's not just going to be a one-man wrecking unit here for Army. I think we're going to get some resistance, but Army's going to pound through that wall, got our ground troops going, and we're going to get this over.
North Texas has had like one of the funniest schedules in recent college football memory. I don't know necessarily what the AD was thinking or how much money they've been paid this season, but the different styles of opponents they played is just hilarious. And then my last play of the week here, I'm going under 52.5, Syracuse, Boston College. Kyle McCord might screw me. Boston College might run for 300 yards, and then I'm in trouble. But this is a logo play here, folks. I don't remember a time in my life where I thought Syracuse and Boston College were going to combine, for 8 total touchdowns in the game, and I'm not starting now.
I got 4 more plays. So, Tyson's done. I normally have a little bit more, so I get his thoughts on these plays here. And I'm laying big numbers the rest of the way. And, a lot of people are like, wow, I shouldn't be doing that. I don't care here. Tyson, you're going to hate this one. I already know. I hate being stubborn. I really try to look at the plays and eat a week-by-week basis. I will fully admit this is a stubborn play. Damn it, can Tennessee fucking cover a number here? I'm playing 24 at home against Mississippi State. This defense is not good. If Tennessee cannot score points – I'm not kidding you. I don't care if they have one loss. Keep them out. They are hard to watch on the offense. Now, the good thing here is defensively, they are really good. And I think that's where we have the edge here. Tennessee's defense first and fourth and stopping the run and pass on an EPA basis against the Mississippi State offense is 85th and 77th. Or I'm sorry, 83rd and 77th. So Tennessee's been able to stop more higher-powered offenses than what we're going to see from Mississippi State. First year of Jeff Lebby, I think eventually that thing will get rolling, but not right now. But Tennessee's offense, if you're not going to score points here, they're 8th in rush EPA, 43rd in pass EPA against a defense that's 107th and 128th. Points. Heupel, you want to be the genius. You got this 5-star wonderkin quarterback. You are out-talenting them there. If they can't cover this number, Tyson, I don't even know what to tell you.
This kind of feels like, can Tennessee score 4 touchdowns? That's really kind of what it feels like you're betting on.
Next one here, Notre Dame minus 25.5 against Florida State. Big number. That's minus 114 on FanDuel. But has anybody watched Florida State this year? Even if DJU's back, I know that he's the Notre Dame killer. Jeez, Pete, does anybody trust in Florida State to go on the road? It's going to be cold up in South Bend. Do they want to tackle? Do they want to hit? I don't know. 26 and 27.5 is the power ratings number here. So have a little bit of an edge. I will fully admit these are the classic games that Notre Dame drops. But this feels a little different, Tyson. I got to admit they are running the football really good. Great. 42nd in rush EPA. That helps when you have Riley Leonard, a good mobile quarterback. 42nd in rush EPA. And this Florida State defense, they're not as vaunted as they were in the past. I mean, they're 93rd and 101st in defending those the runs and passes on an EPA basis. So I think Notre Dame's going to be able to have their way. My concern would be if they get a little run happy and it's working, the clock tick, 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 tick. But I think they're going to be able to score points. Defensively, Florida State's offense 113th in rush EPA, 115th in pass EPA against the defense that's 5th and 3rd. How do you score points? How does Notre Dame not cover this? That's fatal flaw. I'm going to knock on wood, but my goodness.
I'm with you. I didn't have the guts to play it, but I'm with you.
It is scary. It is scary. And here's a bread and butter play for me. Boise State's minus 24. What are these books doing right now? I mean, I will say this. This one does scare me though. Nevada, your boy Jeff Cho, you know him from Montana State. I mean, he's got the boys buzzing up there in Nevada or down there in Nevada. But this Boise State team, they're the best group of 5. They got to prove it here. They have to keep winning. And when you have the best running back in college football, it's hard for you to lose games, and it becomes more manageable to cover big numbers because when you're running out the clock, you can bust one. And that's what I think is going to happen here. They're first in rush EPA, Boise State is 15th in pass EPA. So you got dual threat there because the defense is 106th and 102nd respectively. So I think Boise State's going to be able to move the ball like they have throughout the entire year. Now, Nevada's offense is 86th in rush EPA and 96th in pass EPA. Boise State's defense 31st and 32nd. So I do think there could be a backdoor situation here. Boise State takes the foot off the gas. Nevada's still trying to cover, get the backups in. It's not quite as stout of a defense. That could happen, but I'm going to roll with my boys. Let's go Broncos.
Do you think Nevada's going to try to win the game or try to stop Ashton Jeanty from winning the Heisman?
You were so disgusted at that last weekend.
I'm upset.
I think they're going to – it's Cho, dude. You know him. He thinks he can win this thing.
He also, I think, wants to just punch Ashton Jeanty in the face. Like, I can totally see just 8-9 in the box all game long. I let Madsen throw for 400 yards. We don't care.
Last one for me of the week. Another bread and butter play. Let's go Wazoo, minus 20.5 at home, minus 112 on FanDuel, facing this Utah State team that's been just comical on defense. It really is hilarious. Washington State, 38th in EPA per rush, 18th in EPA per pass. Against a defense that's 131st and 112th in stopping it, respectively, in those categories. Washington State's going to be able to name the score here. But it's a big number. It's 3 touchdowns you got to cover. Utah State, 103rd rush EPA, 122nd pass EPA. Wazoo's defense, 65th and 44th in those categories. Big number. High-powered offense, defense that can shut it down. I like this late night. Let's sweat it out.
I think that if you're looking for an alternate angle here, I think Washington State's going to start super fast. And this one would be up like 21-0 at halftime, 21 points at half.
I love that. A little first half action there for Tyson. That's it. We're going to try to get back on track. I mean, we have a few more weeks before we start getting into the postseason and all that good stuff. So, if we're going to have a big turnaround, this is the time to do it. And Tyson, we playing plays all week. Where can they find it at?
It'll be in the Discord app. Brad, I got to go 8-0 this week. So that's the goal here. But live plays, all that other stuff will be in the Discord app. Tons of different channels, NFL, NBA, whatever you can imagine. Brad's putting money on where Juan Soto is going to go in free agency. Right now, he's heavily leveraged into the Phillies. But whatever you can imagine, we have in that Discord. And so click that link in the bio. We'll let you right in.
Like, subscribe, and share the show. Smash the like button on the way out if you're watching on YouTube. 5 stars if you have it in podcast form. Subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Like I was alluding to this entire podcast and just entire episode, we recap what's going on in the NFL and in college football. So if you're like, what in the world just happened? You want to hear our take on what just happened on the field? Subscribe so you don't miss anything that comes out earlier in the week. We have a reaction show, and then share with your friends, share with the enemies. It does not matter to us. We just appreciate you guys' support, helping us grow this thing. And we'll be back later talking giving a little NFL picks out. I'm trying to get hot in there. Tyson's been carrying the show, but we'll see you guys then. Peace.